just got the this email from Y Combinator that I got into the startup school Europe 2024. I think, as far as I know, this is the first ever startup school happening in London from Y Combinator. So I'm very excited. I'm glad that I got in. Yeah, looking forward to it. Hi, today is the YC day, YC Startup School Day. So I'm going to record how the day is going to look like. It is raining. It's a typical London weather. There's a lot of people lining up, and this was the entrance. When I went there, I was kind of impressed by the number of people there. I heard it was around 1,200 people with more than 6,000 applications. We've got some breakfasts, and with a cup of tea, I went upstairs. By the way, the hall was Westminster Hall. It was a beautiful hall. You'll get to see how beautiful it is soon. Yep, this is the place. Y Combinator Startup School. I expected to meet amazing people there, but then the problem is, I guess my interest is quite maniac. A lot of people seem to be a newbie or having, not much interest in startups. And a lot of them seem to have their primary purpose of doing a startup to be just making money. Then the problem is, I am interested in making money as well, but then I am more interested in thinking about the fundamentals, the meaning of life, or in other words, establishing my philosophical foundation for the living. To me, as Peter Thiel says, the why question is much harder to answer than the how question. If you know the why, I think the how is really easy because you can gather all the small people in the world and they're going to solve it out. Here it is, the Paul Graham, the founder of the YC. He definitely stood out among all the speakers. He was very much more confident than the other speakers and had more wise words. He's a British. I think that's why he did this event in London, because he's now, I think, 60-year-old, and now he's almost up to retirement and wants to come back to his home country and contribute to the home country. So this was the lineup of the startup day. There are many great speakers, including Paul Graham and Monzo founder. He's now a YC group partner as well. But usually it was UK centric. They mentioned about how it's a great time for UK people to start a startup because UK is one of the most rapidly growing startup ecosystems in the world today. Compared to early 2000s, especially when those founders, the speakers, started their startups. Monzo founder specifically mentioned when he tried to get investment from the investors back in the early 2000s for his company, he could not find any investors or accelerator nor any VCs in London. So that's why he had to go to the America. But today, there are many great investors, VCs in London. So it's a great time for you to start a startup in London. That's what he said. Another interesting thing they mentioned was a good startup is very divisive, meaning you need to have a very differentiating factor against the traditional big companies. That's all about startups. So the fact that you have a very divisive audience, meaning you're doing a great job, because that means you're being very clear with your mission, and it's very different from the conventional ways. Another interesting thing was about AGI thing. They mentioned they didn't mention AGI, but they did, especially Paul Graham talked about self-evolving AI. It is going to come out within 12 months to 24 months. So be prepared for that. But I don't know how you would be prepared for it unless you're an insider, because there are three really important factors for the AI thing. One thing is data. You need a lot of data, quality data actually. Second is talents. You need to have really smart people with the forefront in knowledge within the field. And the third thing is you need resources, computing power, like electricity and the GPUs and stuff like that. Um, but all of them require a lot of money, a lot of capital and a lot of resources. So I don't know how you would prepare for it unless you are an insider of that industry. But anyways, they mentioned about the self-evolving AI coming up within 2 years. Um, well, it makes sense because Sam Altman and Elon Musk have been talking about the AGI thing is going to come in like 2026. I think it's because it's now 2024, 2 years later, like the timeline makes sense. The third thing is about AGI with Sam Altman. Paul Graham's the next CEO of Y Combinator after Paul Graham was Sam Altman. He was the second CEO of Y Combinator, so they are very closely. I believe they're very close. Uh, but then what Paul Graham mentioned about Sam Altman was that Sam Altman was clearly anticipating the century is going to be about AGI because he's not just doing one like business. For instance, like as I told you, for AI business, you need a lot of resources. When Sam Altman started OpenAI, he did some like strange experiments for such as UBI, Universal Base Income project with YC. I think it was not aligned to the YC's mission. He kind of abused YC for his personal interest, but still, he did that to see if UBI could be one of the options for the AGI society. The second thing is he's been investing in many companies or projects that would help OpenAI to make an AGI like 10 years since he started OpenAI or before even. For instance, Reddit has a lot of quality data to be trained for LLM, large language models. Uh, he certainly used to be one of the largest shareholders of Reddit, the company. And also, he has been, investing on in like Fusion and some other like startups, blockchain and etc. to definitely link all these startups to build one big empire. Um, so I would say those big people, those small people are preparing for the next uh, era of humanity, which would definitely be drastically different from today. You gotta be prepared for that in some ways. Um, One advice from me would be just be very close to the technologies. If it's really challenging to actually use them or contribute to the forefront technological development, uh, then just you have YouTube. You're watching my YouTube as well, and there are many experts who are uh, willingly distributing the complicated technical information and transforming the information into a very approachable level information to the public. So watch those kind of podcasts, uh, or news is usually very biased. I would say just try to watch podcasts. Podcasts are great these days. like the tech CEOs, the big tech CEOs are coming out in podcasts like this is insane. Um, my favorite CEOs are like Elon Musk, definitely, because I feel like he has shown the most convincing way of perceiving the world to me. He once said, the universal self is the answer. What we have to do is to ask the right question. And in order to ask the right question, we need to be much smarter as a species. That's why he's trying to make human beings multi-planetary species, uh, uh, and 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 ultimately make the entire universe intelligent, so that we could figure out what the universe was all about from the first place, like what's the meaning of life. I feel that's quite a very convincing way of perceiving life. So I'm definitely interested in that kind of way of thinking. So I'd recommend you to watch some of him talking about, his philosophy. Other than him, I think Peter Thiel is super smart. He's a very original thinker. So I'd recommend, listening to his wisdom as well. Yeah. This winter, I've decided to visit Silicon Valley. First, I was supposed to, visit India again, but then before graduating my university, I just wanted to visit the very forefront of the tech world, Silicon Valley, and see how intense and advanced the industry is, and meet a lot of people. I don't know. If I go to India, I'm pretty sure I would be successful financially. But then I am not sure just making a lot of money would be really what I want. So I'm still exploring that part. See you guys.